extend our heartfelt condolences to the family of Tyree Nichols. Jim Crow Joe, Mr. Crime Bill himself, who fucking ran around and sucked every police cock he could over the course of the past fucking year or two, talking about how we're going to make sure that all the COVID funds that went to cops who are dying of COVID, ironically, go figure, is actually totally fine. We're going to make sure that we even increase the funding to the police. That guy, oh man, he's so sad. As America's grieved, the Department of Justice conducts its investigation as state authorities continue their work. I join Tyree's family in calling for peaceful protest. Outrage is understandable, but violence is never acceptable. Yeah, everyone is gearing up, dude. Everyone is gearing up. If that kind of... Dude, look, I'm not inciting for violence, or I'm not inciting for riots. I'm not going to ever say anything like that. But goddamn, dude, what a demonstration that, these people are just terrified of what is to come, knowing full well. And I have a very cool way of avoiding all of that, okay? It's called... Don't let cops murder people, okay? It's super simple, it's super obvious, but, if you're that scared of, storefronts burning down, here's a crazy idea. Don't let cops murder people, okay? And also prosecute them, or prosecute more of them, so that other cops think twice before murdering someone. It's crazy, I know. It's wild, okay? Stop with this peaceful shit. What are you, fucking stupid? Do you think this is literally right before possible nation wide protests? You think I'm gonna fucking come out and foolishly say yeah, riots are great? What are you, fucking dumb? You know how many fucking dick riders of the police are probably in here salivating for the opportunity to clip some shit out of context? You fucking stupid? Anyway. Riots are the voice of the unheard, okay? It's the final fucking thing that citizens do when they're pushed to the fucking brink. It's just the truth. Property damage and destruction of that might make you feel scared, worried, okay? But it happens because people don't have anything else. People don't have any other... They don't see progress or understandable demands that they make of their government, or the people that are violent enforcers in their own communities that get to do this and be protected and are paid by their own fucking tax dollars, man. It's crazy. Yeah. That's why I called Congress on to send George Floyd Justice and Policing Act to my desk. When they didn't, I signed an executive order that included stricter use of force standards. They did nothing, dude. The Biden admin did nothing.
The pain you're experiencing. But let me reaffirm, we are here to pursue truth and justice, realizing that we should not be here. Simply put, this shouldn't have happened. I've been policing for more than 30 years. I've devoted my life to this profession.
Oh my God.
And I'm grieved. Frankly, I'm shocked. I'm sickened by what I saw. And what we've learned through our extensive and thorough investigation. I've seen the video, and as D.A. Mulroy stated, you will too. In a word, it's absolutely appalling. Let me be clear. What happened here does not at all reflect proper policing. This was wrong. This was criminal. The depth and breadth of the charges announced today speaks to the deliberate and thorough investigation that this case has received. And our work is not finished. We continue to pursue every lead. Justice demands it. And our agency exists so that guilt shall not escape, nor innocence suffer. To that end, I want to publicly thank our agents, our forensic scientists, our support staff, and our entire team around the state. They worked diligently to expedite this case. We've worked as hard as we could and as quickly as we could to provide a thorough, independent, unbiased investigative record to allow D.A. Mulroy and his team to make the most informed decision they could regarding these charges. I also want to thank the Memphis Police Department and the city leaders for their cooperation in this case, which I want to stress is ongoing at this time. Thank you.
We'll take a few questions.
D.A. Mulroy, I was wondering if Shimon wrote the best for
And Whitland, let's make sure that one at a time.
One and then two.
Okay.
And you see the investigation ongoing. Does that include other officers that were alluded to in C.J. Davis' address last night, and also could it also involve the other EMTs and personnel from the fire department?
Nothing we do today or did today precludes the addition of any further charges regarding any of the people that you mentioned. We're still actively reviewing everything. Yes.
Thank you. Shimon Lopez from CNN. We have not heard from the police chief generally give a description of what occurred in the initial stop, any kind of a timeline of what exactly occurred on that day. So I'm hoping perhaps you or the director there can explain to us, just give us as much as possible a timeline of the events. He was stopped. Was this a legal stop? Why was he stopped? And then sort of continue to explain perhaps what happened in the moments after that, as much as possible.
Right. I don't want to go into too much detail. And I suspect that all of your answers along those lines will, be forthcoming once you have a chance to view the video for yourself. I know that a lot of this has already been publicly released, but there was an initial traffic stop. We won't comment right now on the presence or absence of legality of the stop, but there was a traffic stop, and there was an initial altercation involving several officers and Mr. Nichols. Pepper spray was deployed. The Mr. Nichols, fled on foot. There was another altercation at a nearby location at which the serious injuries were experienced by Mr. Nichols. After some period of time of waiting around afterwards, he was taken away by an ambulance. Beyond that, I don't really think we should go into any further details.
So there was a delay in a call. The police delayed calling the ambulance for.
There was an elapsed period of time, but I believe that if you watch the video, you'll be able to make that judgment for yourself.
He says suspect. He's so used to it, dude. He's just, the suspect, perpetrator. Victim. Shit.
The serious injuries were experienced by Mr. Nichols. After some period of time of waiting around afterwards, he was taken away by an ambulance. Beyond that, I don't really think we should go into any further details.
So there was a delay in a call. The police delayed calling the ambulance for.
There was an elapsed period of time, but I believe that if you watch the video, you'll be able to make that judgment for yourself.
They're on autopilot. They have to do passive voice, dude. This is because the reality is, this is just like every other fucking instance, man. I'm sorry. I'm sure this is uniquely brutal, okay? But many of these cases are just as fucking awful. Maybe it doesn't have, the personal, malicious slant associated with it, the violence of, using your fucking hands to brutally murder someone. But, the reality is, the defense here could have been applied in the same fucking way, okay? Because in many instances, it is the same.
Give everyone a chance.
But is there a reason the police chief...
Elise Preston, CBS News. Is it known if Tyree Nichols had previously known these former officers?
We have no information to disclose about that at this time. I don't know why Chief Davis isn't here. Anything else?
Dean Lori, can you explain, is it just body camera videos, is it dash cam videos, surveillance, what kind of videos?
Well, the actual release will be up to the city of Memphis. My understanding is that it'll be a combination of poll cam video, skycop video, and body cam video.
We'll take one more question. One more question.
And there will be a review of specialized units within the Memphis Police Department. Two questions. First, were these officers member of the organized crime unit? And second, will your office be involved in that investigation?
Well, so I've read in the newspaper that Chief Davis has announced a review of those specialized units. I think that's a good idea. I commend Chief Davis for doing that. I think Chief Davis is committed to, trying to do whatever she can to learn lessons from this incident. I don't contemplate that our office would be involved in that review. I think that's...
Were they members of the organized crime unit?
So I think it's already been reported publicly that the Scorpion unit was involved.
Thank you.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. I'm being told that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you please tell us the list of the aggravated kidnapping charges?
To explain it?
Yes, sir.
All right. I
Well,
don't
we
mind
just
doing that.
heard
Explaining
from-
the laws, I don't think at all.
Hold on just a moment. Let's listen back in.
Yeah. So, all right. So, kidnapping is any unlawful confinement of another, which substantially restrains someone's liberty. At a certain point in the sequence of events, it is our view that this, if it was a legal detention to begin with, it certainly became illegal at a certain point, and it was an unlawful detention. The aggravated nature of the charge is because if that kidnapping resulted in bodily injury, that's one grounds for saying that it is aggravated kidnapping. If the persons involved in that unlawful restraint of liberty possessed weapons, that is another ground for saying that the kidnapping was aggravated. Do you want me to explain the other charges as well?
Yeah, just say that they uncopped them. You know how, like I say, they disdoctored? They undoctored someone? What the fuck was it? Like the fucking guy in the UK, Andrew Wakefield? That's what it is. It's like every instance of police doing like normal police work that ends up with like an escalation of use of force and violence is just doing police work, right? It's just that they post hoc dispoliced them, unpoliced them. So now the things that they're doing that were otherwise normal are considered not normal and illegal, very illegal, as a matter of fact. A lesson to be learned from that process, hopefully, for many cops.
Well, okay. All right. So official misconduct is when any public official acting part of their official duties intentionally or knowingly acts in a way, exercises authority that is unauthorized by law. Right? So that's an affirmative statement, an affirmative act of official misconduct. At the same time, law enforcement officials who are on duty are also under an affirmative duty to prevent official misconduct and to accurately report information to any medical personnel that show up. And through inaction, when there is a duty imposed by law, that can also be a separate ground for charging official misconduct. Official oppression is a related statute. It's not exactly the same. There's some overlap, but it's not perfect overlap. But it is basically some sort of, by an official, knowing mistreatment in the course of carrying out their official duties. Aggravated assault, I think, is fairly obvious, and under the laws of Tennessee, second-degree murder is a knowing killing.
Thank you.
have just learned that 5 former Memphis police officers today indicted, arrested, and charged with second-degree murder and a number of other charges that you just heard. They are members of the Scorpion Unit, which was put together to fight violent crime on the street. We heard from the director of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, David Roush, that they are there to pursue truth and justice, and that he was shocked and sickened by what he saw on the...
Dog, they put this together 2 years ago, specifically for the, like, the rise in violent crime narrative. It's like one of those fucking places, it's one of those instances where, like, that kind of crime is on the rise narrative turns into, like, real action from police departments that, of course, aren't turning around and, like, conducting an internal investigation in the way that they behave, but instead immediately putting funds into being extra violent.
These multiple videos that are expected to be released Friday at 6 p.m. The police chief in Memphis saying just last night that she expects that the community will feel outrage. They are bracing for protests. Make no doubt about it. Let's bring in our senior investigative correspondent, Catherine Herridge. And Catherine, these are serious charges. Yes. Also heard them lay out that they were all charged with the same crimes, all 5 of them. And in the words of one of the officials, their actions of all of them resulted in the death of Tyree Nichols.
That's right. And on top of that, we have an overlay, Nora, which is launching of a federal civil...
Where you at, lady? You want to come talk more about how, like, Afghan children should be abducted by white American families? We have CBS News' very own Afghan child abduction defender. So come talk about this shit. Psychotic, reactionary piece of shit. That's how you know the media is so fucking corrupt and awful.
Rights investigation by the Justice Department as well as the FBI. They haven't told us what charges are under consideration, but the most similar or analogous case would be that of George Floyd and the officer Derek.
She was on a 2-parter series by CBS News, literally defending the kidnapping of an Afghan child done by the Mass family in Virginia, okay? Even when the federal government's like, hey, that's a kidnapping, you can't do that. For those of you who weren't here yesterday.
Chauvin, he pleaded guilty to violating George Floyd's constitutional rights, and that included the right to be free of excessive use of force by police officers, as well as that constitutional right to due process.
Stand by, because Elise Preston has been covering this case, has been there all week, and just came out of that press conference. And Elise, very significant. Talk about that concern. Why did they choose Friday night at 6 p.m. to release this video, which we're told is about an hour in length, multiple different cameras, and is expected to provoke protests?
Well, so we just heard from District Attorney Steve Mulroy, and he said that, one, with the video, the Memphis Police Department, they are the custodian of that video. So the video will be released by the police department, by the city. We do know that this video, they are still kind of working through investigations, right? We do know that with the officers being charged,
I wonder why.
they have enough to go on right now to charge them with that. But the DA has been concerned pretty much all week that they are waiting to make sure that the case is completely tight before they move forward. So that is a concern. Another concern is just safety. I spoke to a city council chief chair yesterday, Nora, and he said, I asked him, what is it like here in Memphis 2 weeks after Tyree Nichols has died? And he said that it is like putting your hands on a combustible can and waiting for it to release. You know that you're going to have to release your hand, so you're just kind of waiting to see what you can kind of get together before you do release that. So I think right now, city officials, city leaders, they are just bracing people for what is to come. You mentioned that video statement placed on Twitter last night about 10:30 here local time from the chief, and she told people that you are going to see things that are troubling. She called that video inhumane. She said that it was heinous. And so I think they right now are just trying to prepare.
If there was any honesty in this, cops would provide. I mean, cops would never obviously do that, and their presence is always going to be threatening. But in a normal world, cops would provide protection to the protesters, and not the fucking Kyle Rittenhouses who are currently at home polishing their weapons, hoping that they can get a confirmed legal kill. We'll see.
The public, both here in Memphis and across the country, Nora.
Yeah, I mean, some dire warnings ahead of this video release. We learned today that these 5 former officers were part of a Scorpion unit, as it is called, a group of some 50 officers that was put together to fight violent street crime. The other thing that the District Attorney Steve Mulroy saying today was that
into Marxism, your normal world still having cops is your worst take. Yes, I am not an anarchist. I am not an anarchist. I believe that, yes, some form of policing is a necessity for society to function. Okay? While I understand that crime, most crime can be solved by solving material inequalities, there are still plenty of instances where there needs to be a group of democratically organized people. If you want to do it like an anarchist commune style situation, democratically organized people upholding democratically voted on laws that everyone finds justifiable, okay, that also solve crimes and detain people. There's always going to be a need for detainment. The issue that I have with police is that they work at the behest of capital, okay? The issue that I have with police is that they are white supremacists working at the behest of a white supremacist system. The issue that I have with police is not that there's a group of people who are supposed to be protecting and serving everybody, okay? The theory, the theoretical concept is fraught, it's bullshit, it's marketing, we all recognize that. But ultimately, I still believe that there's a need for, serial killers, rapists, that sort of thing, or criminals that are engaging in crime, to be caught and police to do detective work. You know what I mean? Like, I want that. I don't believe that you can basically stop all of those crimes from stopping altogether, but with one fell sweep of material restitution. Off left take, yeah. I mean, if you consider that to be authoritarian, then yeah. I mean, I believe black cops are white supremacists. Lol. Yeah, dude. Yes. Black cops can also, and oftentimes do, behave in a manner that is consistent with white supremacy. Candace Owens is black. She's a political commentator, and she is a white supremacist. Black people can also do white supremacy, and do it very well, as a matter of fact. I believe that all matter of governance is going to be inherently authoritarian, and I have no problem with that. Like, I don't. I think that I believe in order to a certain degree. I believe that there are going to be people that want to violate the norms that will allow for society to flourish. Okay? People that take advantage of it. Why the fuck do you think I still have an oppressive iron thumb that I rule over this chat with? I try to make this as democratic as possible. This is such a microcosm of like social formations, and it's so stupid because the stakes are much lower, so I'm not making an exact analogy here. But like, I want this to be as democratic as possible, right? I want everyone to just talk as much as they want to, but I still discipline motherfuckers because people take advantage of that. There's always going to be people who have antisocial personality disorders, which we cannot currently medicate or have no understanding of how to fucking medicate and rehabilitate adequately. Like, there's still going to be people that take advantage of your good nature. Okay? But that does not destroy the need for some group of people that you agree with that is democratically assigned to do the enforcement. Okay? You're literally arguing about something he doesn't deny. If reform work, why do the... Yeah, this is the part where Cinemarxism, who is an anarchist, will then put words in my mouth that I don't believe in. It's just like, if reform work, why did the last 50 years of reform stop this? I'm not saying that, like, police reform is what's necessary. Okay? I think that structural change is necessary. But that does not change the fundamental principles of, like, having a group of individuals, whether they're democratically organized, working at the behest of a democratically assigned, rule of law system that you and the fucking workers' council got together and voted on. Okay? Arguing with another Hassan in their head. I mean, I'm arguing. He's arguing with like a made-up concept. But it is frustrating, and I don't know what to do. Anyway. The Guardian Angels organization in New York could provide a useful model to approach the democratic community policing in a socialist society. Wait, what? The Guardian Angels? Aren't those the guys with the red berets? There is no fucking shot you said a bunch of like, wait, am I crazy? Or is this like the vigilante Punisher decal guys who couldn't cut it in the police force, literally running around subways and beating the shit out of people? They're like kind of racist too. They're like racist vigilantes. Anyway, maybe I'm wrong, Law, but I thought the Black Panthers had formed community policing groups in the past. Yeah, Guardian Angels is not one of them. Oh my god. Okay, this is the second ad break that I'm not going to segue. But we are going to move on from this story inevitably, and then I'll go back to segueing. But at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, or by getting gifted a sub. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
He met with the Nichols family before these charges were announced. Second-degree murder, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping.
Bread doesn't go bad after a day. So why would we just give it away when we can still sell it? Because, well, bread doesn't go bad after a day. And while donating it may be a small act in this world, on this table, it will be big. Panera. Families throughout history have been chosen to make a horrible decision. You are that family. You must sacrifice one of the three of you to prevent the apocalypse.
I'm sacrificing anyone.
My son's gonna die.
What exactly did you guys see?
Anyone going through a natural disaster, it's always going to be hard to understand, but know that there's always hope.
All right, everyone, we are now 90 seconds to midnight. That doesn't slap as hard as 2 minutes to midnight. So, you know, when that great song was made, I think it's good that it wasn't 90 seconds to midnight. It just wouldn't flow the same way. Oh, we're going to have nuclear Armageddon, but at least we're getting some good fucking music out of it. That was the tale of the 70s and 80s. I wish it were the same now. Can't you people make, like, you know, we're all gonna fry in a nuclear fire music again? I mean, this is the closest to midnight that the doomsday clock has now ever been. Make some songs about it. Don't do 90 seconds to midnight. It's too much of a knockoff. But why don't you go back to making, like, hippie music? You're recycling. The Zoomers are recycling their slang. I'm vibing, man. Ain't sussin'. No cap for real, for real. You realize where the term vibes comes from, correct? The hippies like to use that, the counterculturalists of the 60s. You're taking it from your grandparents, and they borrowed it from theirs from the Art Nouveau period. Just to be clear about the occult origins of that one particular term. Think about what it really means in the context of the psychic arts and theosophy, and you'll realize that the origin is more late 1800s than it is 1960s, and now the Zoomers are recycling it. Right on schedule, I would notice. There's nothing new under the sun. Getting to the concept of the doomsday clock, I will point out an aside here, and it's something that people need to understand. The doomsday clock, as it was calculated long, long ago, when they begin it back in the atomic era, they're like, oh my god, we've got these weapons that can literally blow up an entire city. The government is stressing that it can create one of these every few days. The Soviets have begun to create them later on. Of course, the British do their tests, the French, India, Pakistan, now North Korea. Israel did tests, South Africa, although it dismantled its program. The same with Brazil. China gets the bomb, thanks to the Soviets, which I think that they quickly regretted, by the way. It's one of the greatest geostrategic blunders of the Eastern Bloc, actually, that China was ever given the atom bomb. The Russians at the time seem to have understood this, but they try not to talk about it too much so that Westerners will focus on evil Western imperialism and our foreign policy blunders in Vietnam and North Korea. Among a half a dozen other goddamn states, but we'll get past that as well. We'll do what the Soviets do about the multiple Sino invasions of Vietnam. They didn't go over so well. They made the U.S. invasion of Vietnam look orderly by comparison, just to be clear. The problem with the doomsday clock is that some time ago, it stopped being just about nuclear war. It's basically the Ukraine war and a few other issues are what's behind them inching it closer to midnight. But some of that pressure towards midnight, and the doomsday clock is ultimately a think tank arbitrary measurement with no real intrinsic value, but it's interesting, it's newsworthy. We are moving in a bad direction overall as far as the world goes at the moment, just to be clear. We've got a march towards globalism, which is destabilizing things, and then the natural pressure against that. You've got a million problems right now, especially with regards to certain eastern regions of the world. Not just Ukraine, Korea. Look at Burkina Faso right now. Just to be clear, it looks like the government wants to do a purge, and it doesn't want the French around to witness it. You're going to see some ethnic cleansing probably right quick. I don't expect that the government is actually interested in fighting the Islamic jihadists so much as it is killing off people that don't want to vote for the current government. We'll see what happens over the next couple of years. It'll be Hotel Rwanda all over again, I assure you. You're looking for 100,000 deaths. We'll put it that way. It's just sad. Burkina Faso, the country that almost no American can find on a map. I thought it was fascinating when I looked into their history, but I digress. The problem with the doomsday clock is that it's no longer about nuclear Armageddon. It's also about climate change and things related to that. Anything that could inconvenience the world. Any sort of negative news is basically taken and compiled together, and they look at how close to being destroyed we are, or mostly destroyed. Even in a nuclear war, there would be
Just making a thumbnail really quick. LOL. Alrighty. Should do it. Yeah. Oh, I won't. Thank you. We're just annihilating this weed right now. There we fucking go. We got food for life now, pretty much. Bread a day keeps the doctor away. At least that's what they tell me.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, Jeremy Wormy. I'm coming at you with another episode of Velma Review, and what's the point? I'll say this. They solved the mystery of why Velma was having hallucinations. She has daddy issues. The show is so boring and stupid, and through the majority of this episode, I'm not gonna lie, I was uploading the previous review. Because things happen. It's not really progressing the plot. I listened to everything, and I could probably get through it super fast again. There's all sorts of crazy stuff, and we do get Scooby. We get Scooby. It is so stupid. Oh, we're not going to put Scooby in the show because, we don't think a talking dog could work in an adult animated show. So what we did was so much more stupid. Let's get into it, shall we? The initial discussions just talk about secrets of parents and how we never live up to their expectations, especially because now Glenn's a male feminist and things of that nature. We get Glenn saying, with his mom and dad saying, "Oh my God, if Velma or Mindy sees what's inside this box, she could die because of her hallucinations. And we get Mindy, you know, putting stuff together. Don't look at board. And, you know, she hears her dad calling for her, and it turns out, no, her dad's not calling for her. Her dad's taking pictures of Sophie and the new baby because he's going to be taking parental leave so that he can spend time with the new baby so that they don't mess up like Mindy. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, there's some nice moments in this episode. Because I do like a good father-daughter or father-son story, but it just isn't good. It's so bad. So yes, they're taking the time off to go hang out with each other. Episode begins. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Anyways, we have Glenn walking up on Mindy as she's walking to school, I believe. I don't fully know. I think she's walking to school. She's walking somewhere. And Glenn says, hey, you know, come in to get a ride. You know, I love you. You're the bestest, but you're the bestest ever. Please, oh please, spend time with me. And then Mindy says no. And Glenn's dad comes up and says, oh, it's you. Who is this girl? Is this what you went for the hunt? No. Be gone. You are bad for my son. Glenn's dad is not happy that he has a crush on Mindy. And it's all bad. Yeah. Mindy says, well, at least I don't have that bad of daddy issues. And then we see her dad drive by in a car, but shooting mud over her as he's spending time with the baby and Jeep stuff. God, I don't want to get into this part. I really don't. Mindy sits down with Sam's mom, and we end up seeing Sam making out with Gigi, and Gigi's telling Sam, oh, please, so fix the pants, you know, you gotta do it. I love you. Please do this stuff for me. So that's what he plans on doing as most of this episode is him sewing the pants together. And as we are beginning the exposition dump of who the heck no, I don't even remember her name. The neurosurgeon, the grandma, Sam's grandma, begins. And she was a spectacular neurosurgeon that learned how to keep brains alive well past their dead. And a general saw this and wanted to use it as a spy operation to scoop brains out of people's heads and infiltrate things. And what did they want to infiltrate? America's most awful thing, meddling kids. Meddling kids. So yes, they wanted to infiltrate meddling kids because they were causing problems to America. And he tried to do it before entering in, but they had a unique trick to stopping everything, and that was mask removal. I kid you not. So, they tried to hypnotize people to get into the meddling kids and to convince them that war is fine. But there was one problem, is if you heard snapping, the hypnosis ended. So, the bright idea was for Sam's grandma to learn how to transplant a brain into a body so that they could infiltrate meddling kids. And Sam's grandma, we then get the name of the operation, was Scooby, Special Covert Operation Brain Initiative. Got the name of... We got Scooby. We got Scooby! My freaking god. Oh, we can't have a talking dog, but we'll have some sort of stupid name for an acronym. Special Covert Operations. So, Ed, as time went on, we find out that yes, Sam's grandma really tried to do it, and over the years was failing, but slowly becoming more and more insane, to the point that and we get this whole over the years thing where we see people, that's pretty much it, to the point that she went insane and put herself in the Crystal Cove Insane Asylum. That's that. So now the next part is they have to be sure that you have your hallucinations under control. So that's why they have Sam there, because Sam is supposed to be able to get her out of the hallucination. They sit the box down, they open it up, and Mindy immediately has a intense hallucination. That's it. We now cut to plot B, which is again Constance and her birth parents. And her birth parents are saying, "Hey, you're late, hey, come help out." And Constance is slowly getting up there to go help out the parents, and we get this one little nod of, "Yay, we're here. Please, nobody tell them what the heck is going on. We'll tell her afterwards." And we get this shot of something of Brenda's in his back pocket. Bum, bum, bum. It's nothing, don't worry. Cut to the nurse's office where Mindy had such an intense hallucination that she died. Sam couldn't get her out of it, so they had to use an adrenaline shot to wake her up. They say until you get your hallucinations under control, you are not allowed to look into the box. Even though they do it again. And yeah, bad things happen. So, two of these. Plan's simple. Okay, very, very simple. She has to get over her hallucinations completely before she can interact with the box. So Sam tries to assist and says, "Hey, when did it begin?" "Well, it began when my mom disappeared and I tried to solve her mystery." And Sam says, "Well, you that's weird because you were having hallucinations before that," which doesn't make sense. Anyways, so Mindy then remembers that earlier that day she had another vision, another thing that she did, which was a dinner, her first breakfast with her dad, where her dad walks off instead of talking about emotions because he's so busy with work. Again, that's literally what's happening. It is so weird. That's why today's episode's named Daddy Issues. Because it turns out Mindy's having these hallucinations because she has daddy issues. So their plan is that Mindy has to interact with her dad and solve the daddy issues. Mindy's getting all uppity and angry at it because she has to solve her issues, but Sam won't solve his issues because he's a beta just like his dad, because his dad's teaching you how to be a beta. So today's episode is also Sam trying not to be a beta. Yeah. I don't... This show is so bad. You have... It's sins of the father and the mother. You have all these family secrets. So they're all coming together. There's families fixing their issues and stuff. And it's so freaking awful. I just want to scream and shout. This is so freaking bad. We cut to Mindy's dad trying to take care of Mindy's new sister and his girlfriend, whose name is escaping me right now, and I don't really care. Mindy's dad's having a hard time because he's not used to this, and his girlfriend won't let him do anything else but assist because she hasn't slept in forever, so now she needs help. Mindy comes in and says, "Hey, Dad, we need to talk. You know, we seriously need to talk. Can we spend time together?" And he rushes out the door with her because, yes, I want to have lunch and spend time with my other daughter. Again, and then, I will admit there's a dynamic to Mindy and her dad that I do like, but it's not Scooby-Doo. This is not Scooby-Doo. This is the Velma, Mindy Kaling Animated Adventures. I've been saying that a lot now. So, piss off. We now get Constance talking to her family, and they're telling her all about the crystals and what we call them and what they're actually used for. In reality, they're all junk. And their plan is to sell them and get rich. And why is that? Well, it's because of all the awful things that are going on nowadays, ranging from broke millennials, global warming, all the activist stuff. Kid you not. Because of all that, they are going to try to bring back the crystal generation and say that medicine isn't working, so please here have these crystals, and crystals will become more popular, and we will get rich off of all these crystals. And that's the plan. And Constance says, "Oh, so you just wanted me to come down here to help you be your patsy and stuff and help you out?" And they said, "No, you know what, yes. And at the same time, you can get to learn more about where you come from and more about your mom and dad. Like, where did you get your red hair? It's because Constance's mother smoked a lot while she was pregnant. Like, a lot. She should be dead." I kid you not. That is a line. And I'm already halfway through this episode. Thank you, guys. It's so boring. The actual main story does progress in this episode, yet again, but it's not till the very end. This is not how you do mysteries. You're doing all these side plots, but none of them actually connect to the main story, and when you do get to the main story, you're like moving an inch instead of a mile. We cut to Mindy and her dad eating lunch at a strip club. And Mindy's dad's like, "Oh my god, I didn't realize that we were here." And I'm having to quickly jump through because there's a lot of inappropriate messages. But I didn't realize we were here because your what's-her-name's boobs are out so much that it's just second nature to me now. And Mindy's like, "Oh my god, patriarchy." And then, excuse me, Mindy's dad gives her a word of advice. Mindy reacts like, "Oh my god, did you seriously just give me a word of advice?" And they start bonding, slowly and steadily. And then Mindy brings up the disappearance of her mom, and her dad storms off saying, "No, we can't do this again." So he leaves, all in a huff, to do business. But because they're at a strip club, you know exactly what's going to happen. Mindy stands up to go use a stripper pole. I kid you not. But as she's on her way to the stripper pole, she runs into Glenn. Because Glenn's here with his dad because he wants her... Glenn's dad wishes for Glenn to purchase basically a stripper so that he can quit being a male feminist. But Glenn keeps asking about the gender pay gap. I'm pausing because that's what happens. I don't know what else to tell you. It's so awful. Glenn's dad rushes him out of the strip club. Mindy's dad's about to come on in. So Mindy decides to hop up on the stripper pole, start dancing, and everybody pleads with her to please keep it on and stop. Just then, Mindy's dad comes in and asks, what the heck are you doing? Get off the pole. And Mindy says, no, I'm doing this like any girl with daddy issues, trying to get your attention. And random stripper girl says, yes. And if we dance good enough, our dads will love us again. So Mindy's dad comes up and says, you know what? Come down here. I'm going to spend all my time with you. I just got done talking to girlfriend because I'm going to spend time with you two because you're my daughter and I'm on parental leave and you're one of my kids and I'm your parent. So we're going to spend all day together. And that's exactly what they do. While simultaneously her dad's doing some work. She's playing with her dad and we get montage now. Montage the episode. Where we get stuff with Constance and her parents and how their family's related and stuff, and how they're all criminals. We get Sam dealing with his dad, trying not to be a beta and ignoring Gigi's phone calls and text messages because he has to sew her pants. We get some cool moments with, Mindy and her dad pulling pranks on the girlfriend and stuff. There's some happy moments. We then see Glenn failing reconditioning software that his dad has bought to try to get him to change from not liking Mindy anymore. And as you can see here, we then see Mindy and her dad fishing on the pier, and they reel in Spooky Ghost from Scooby-Doo, an actual Scooby-Doo ghost. They reel in, they freak out, and they throw back into the water. We then get, Constance. I'm not kidding you, it's just a montage. Montage. And also we see more making fun of previous Hanna-Barbera. Because not only they have the Flintstones and the Crystal Cove mines. We end up this family bonding montage with Mindy and her dad having drinks on the beach, where she's drank too much and is now passed out. Oh, wonderful. Now, back to the actual show and the end of the montage. Now, I do like the montage a bit. Mainly because of the whole bonding, and I'm a softie for that stuff. I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for a good bonding story. Moving on from that line. Fine. Anyways, Mindy sits down with Norville, Sam, whatever, saying, "Oh my God, I'm hungover. Please, you do all the work. I'm too hungover." And Norville is starting to talk about how he is being more rebellious. Oh my God, it's so stupid. Anyways, Norville's being more rebellious now and not doing what he needs to be doing, and he left his bowl unwashed in the sink. He's becoming more of a man and is ignoring Gigi. And as they're talking and stuff, Glenn comes up and says, "Oh, look, thank you, Mindy, your dad really helped me," because it turns out her dad helped him buy a stripper. And Mindy responds with, "No, he didn't. He was helping me the whole time." And that's when we get the realization that no, Mindy's dad wasn't actually wanting to spend time with her. Mindy's dad was just using that as an excuse to work. Because Mindy's dad's a workaholic. That's so awful. Mindy rushes into his office to confront her, and he tries to use an excuse of he's having an affair with a random girl. That's not really what's happening. So then Mindy rushes off to the school to see what's in the box, because she's now done with her daddy issues. And when she busts into the office, we see Sam is now all really bad because he stole a leather jacket and is being a jerk, and his mom's like, oh, I don't know what's happened, you know. He's now wearing this leather jacket that he stole off a teddy bear. I kid you not, he stole it off a teddy bear. Mr. Bad Bear. Mindy asks to please show me what's in the box. I've already solved my issues. They crack open the box, and no hallucinations, but they see what's actually down there. And it's the truth. That about where they come from. And that inside, what happened to Mindy's mom that night? Mindy's mom went to Glenn's house after learning that who originally owned it, and after learning that Glenn's parents bought it, because she was going to find Sam's grandma's secret journals and stuff, and found out that there is a secret laboratory down there. And they theorized that, Mindy's mom found the secret laboratory and was attacked by the secret ghost of the lab. I'm not joking. Mindy doesn't believe it, says that that's just superstitions, only crazy people believe in ghosts and people from the 70s. So she's going to go there and figure out what's actually down there. That's what happened. Are you scared? Are you happy? Are you laughing? No? Well, neither was I. They are vindictive against everything Hanna-Barbera. They are vindictive against everything classic Scooby-Doo. This is no longer just a poor comedy. This is straight up anger, hatred, and rage. Oh, but the director and people came out and said, no, we made the show out of our love. No, you hated it. We now cut to Constance as her parents are leaving because they're a bunch of criminals and they have issues. They must go. And then the reality is they only brought Constance back because they needed insurance. You see, they wanted to use Constance as insurance to make sure that her lesbian moms wouldn't actually come after them or hurt them. And in that moment, it turns out, the lesbian moms are there to save the day and arrest everybody, because in reality, they've been watching Constance ever since her birth parents actually interacted and came back. And they have to arrest them all. They knew everything the whole time. Then we get the discussion of, oh my god, look, it's Brenda's crop top tank top. Why do you have it? And you want to know why he has it? Because he randomly found it, and that he is upcycling because of the global warming stuff. And it's a rag for him. Bats came down, and this was a running thing, is the bats. Bats came down, Constance's mom gets away. The ultimate is what happened. We then cut to Mindy's dad trying to find Mindy because, remember, she ran off, wasn't able to talk to Mindy. So now, Mindy ran off, wasn't able to talk to the dad, so now he's out trying to look for her because he does care. It's his daughter. Come on. But Mindy's over at Glenn's house because they're going to go look for the secret place. And Glenn says, no, you can't come in because your dad won't let you in. Then the stripper girl comes up and says, rebelling against father is good, he will love you more. And then she robs the place. We cut over to Sam pulling up at the house, and ha funny. He's a bad boy now. And it turns out that Gigi was stung by a bee because she was trying to fish her torn pants out of the trash and almost died. So to make up for it, Sam's dad is making her a lemon cake Sam feels bad, so he's gonna join him in making her a lemon cake because beta. Cut to Glenn and Mindy down in the basement. They find the entrance, and we get the dumb moment of where Glenn pushes in a brick and the wall falls on top of them. Cut back to... I'm not joking. This is just happening. This is the And Then show. This is Mindy Kaling's Animated Adventures that is so vindictive that they hate anything that came before it because they're actually using Scooby-Doo tropes now, and they're making fun of it. They're butchering it. They don't like where this came from. That's why I'm so angry right now. Cut to Constance just destroying crystals and getting talked to about by her lesbian moms who are saying, no, you know what, in reality, we loved you. We watched you the whole time, but we care about you. And in reality, we didn't steal you. We found you. We didn't steal you. We took you in. Because what actually happened is Constance's parents were stealing, trying to escape, and they didn't have enough room in the boat. So what did they do? They left Constance behind, and that's when her moms picked her up. They love her and all the good stuff. I kid you not. Well, that storyline's wrapped up. Oh, that's nice and good, Bo. Fantastic. Most of the storylines are getting wrapped up. I mean, last episode we got wrapped up with the only Norville storyline, even though now it's in beta. That'll probably get wrapped up in a single episode. So the storylines are getting wrapped up. Oh, fantastic. Mindy then starts thinking, is trapped under a ton of bricks. She sees a shadowy figure coming after her. She thinks it's her mom, and no, in reality, it's her dad. And her dad starts saving her, picking her up, and they're complaining. And Mindy asks, why the heck are you here? And her dad says, I used to find my phone app. I'm a good parent after all. No, in reality, that was the girlfriend that put it on because she wanted to make sure that you never walked in on us in bed talking smack about you. And yes, they're trying to connect. Mindy says, no, I don't want to talk to you. You know I want to leave. And her dad responds with, you can't leave. Your legs are still trapped, so you're going to have to listen. So we do get a good touching moment here that I do kind of like, is her dad saying, listen, the reason why I work so much and the reason why I have all this issues and I'm very shut off is because you had your mom. Your mom dealt with all the emotional stuff. I just worked. The moment she left, I didn't know what to do, so I buried myself in work. And I'm sorry. I love you, dear. Please believe me that he loves her. And ultimately, they kiss and make up. And I do kind of like that part. I'll admit it, I like that a little bit, but that's because I'm a sucker for touchy-feely father-child parents with the kids. I'm a sucker for that, so other than that, this show's still awful. Just because I'm a sucker for touchy-feely stuff doesn't mean anything else. See that, they found the entrance to the hidden laboratory. Stand up and, oh, look, she was sitting on Glenn's face the whole time. And now he's happy. They go down the stairs, find the hidden laboratory, and they see footprints. They find a card that says, and Velma, Mindy, says, Jinkies! Oh, well, why did you say Jinkies? Are you trying to make that a thing? No, actually the paper says Jinkies! This is the origin of Jinkies! Go fudge yourself. You don't deserve any of this. Now because she's convinced that her mom is here and that she's been kidnapped, the hallucinations begin. And as they slowly start coming over to basically attack Velma or Mindy, Mindy pleads with her dad that please, Dad, you have to believe me that Mom was kidnapped or else I'm going to die. So then her dad says, oh, I believe you. hallucination goes away for a little bit. Then it just comes back because, no, he's just lying. Mindy's dad slowly starts to walk forward, steps on the piece of paper and says, "Oh my God, I believe you. Your mom was really kidnapped." In that moment, the hallucination finally ends, disappears, and blows up. And Mindy's like, "Oh my God, you actually believe me. Why do you believe me?" And it's because on that piece of paper was actually Jinkies wrote in her mom's handwriting. So her mom was just here and obviously was kidnapped. Mindy says Jinkies again, and then her dad calls her out for trying to make that a thing. So that's your origin story for the word Jinkies. Fuck off! I want to yell, but people are still... We then get the end credit moment where they're inspecting the whole basement, and Glenn's like, "Well then, who's been down there this whole time? Where's your mom?" And, "Oh, look, all defiant and all important." Oh, cut to the Crystal Cove mine where we see Constance's mom running away, finds a random necklace on the ground, and then from behind gets attacked by the ghost. If I can't get that stupid shot. By the ghost of the lab. Bum, bum, bum. The actual serial killer. And that's the end of the episode. That's the end of the 2 episodes for today. That's the end of this week. And my God, first episode was bad. This episode was so vindictive because it just had to make fun of every little freaking thing that is Scooby-Doo from the Scooby itself. The show's awful. The show's pathetic. And yes, they have daddy issues. Oh my God. Let me get your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Share it out with your friends. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video. Go live, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.
I was proud to serve my country for 8 years. I was stationed everywhere from Afghanistan to South Korea. And when I came home, I still wanted to be of service.
They're definitively doing gain-of-function research. He said, a director at Pfizer said these things. Why? Tell us about it. And the dude goes off. Now, that story, I really want to talk about it, because I think it matters what these big pharma companies are doing. But, we got such crazy news today. Atlanta, Antifa's going nuts, so the government is activating 1,000 National Guard. Wow, who'd have thought? Autonomous zone has grown out of control, and there's, terrorism happening. They're charging these people with terrorism, so it's not even riots anymore. We're at that level. Then we got this, the FDA has come out, and YouTube, keep your pants on. The FDA, we have the story, we have the fact check, NewsGuard certified, is warning about a connection between strokes and taking the flu shot and the COVID shot. If you get them within a certain amount of time, it increases your risk of stroke. That's actually being reported right now. Then, the U.S. is sending tanks. The German foreign minister says we are at war with Russia, and it's just like, wow. A lot of this news happening within the past hour. It's one heck of a Thursday, my friends. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com, become a member to support our work directly. As a member of timcast.com, you are supporting not only our work doing shows like this, but our cultural endeavors, and you will get access to exclusive members-only shows, uncensored. We will have one of those shows for you tonight at about 11 p.m., so if you want to check it out, it's always good fun, not so family-friendly. And, of course, I mentioned it a million times, we got this cafe that we're building, and we have a plan for tons of physical location activities to bring people together, to share ideas, so that we can actually have a bigger impact on the culture. You'll also notice over at timcast.com, there is a link up top, a banner ad that says Timcast IRL with Luke Rutkowski, Alex Jones, Alex Stein, Blair White, Michael Miles, Austin, Texas, April 14th, live
at the Vulcan Theater. If you want to watch Timcast IRL, the show, as we normally do it on a Friday, but live in the audience with drinks, and I'm really trying to get a bunch of burgers to give out to everybody. I'm hoping we can get a few hundred burgers so that when you enter, I don't know if they'll let us do it, but I'm trying to, because I've got a plan for this. I know this dude who makes a bunch of burgers down in Austin. It'd be really cool that you get a free burger or two with your seat or whatever if you really want it. So I'm really excited for this event. Check that out. But don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more is Joe Kent.
Hey, Tim, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Welcome back. Who are you? What are you doing?
So I spent about 20 plus years in the military. I was a Green Beret, retired from that, and then kind of got into politics. I ran last cycle in 2022, won my primary, won the Republican nomination, and then came up a little bit short in the general, and that was so much fun, I decided that I'm going to do it all over again. So we just announced about 2 weeks ago that we're back in the fight for 24 for Washington.
Wow. So, I mean, you're getting started early. That's early, right?
That's early. We started early last time. I mean, look, unfortunately, these things take a lot of money, and so you need time to build up that war chest, especially if you're taking out an incumbent. And then also, we just wanted to keep the momentum going because a lot of people are unhappy with the results.
And I don't answer this, but I'm curious what would happen to your district if Eastern Oregon actually ends up seceding. Like, do you have to move to Idaho? But we'll talk about that. So thanks for hanging out. We also got Phil Labonte hanging out.
Hello, everybody. I am Phil Labonte, Phil from All That Remains, Phil That Remains on Twitter. Happy to be here.
You're wearing a collared shirt today, trying to look
the thing is, I know a lot of people watch this, and like Tim's let me come in. I want to do the band proud. I don't want to embarrass my bandmates. So
right on. Hannah Claire Brimlow's hanging out.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm Hannah Claire Brimlow. I'm a writer for timcast.com.
For some reason, they switched seats. I don't know. Whatever.
I just want everyone to notice what's not behind Phil right now. I don't have control over these things.
We took the Biden down. The creepy Biden was scaring children.
He's creepy. That's a creepy painting.
You see the painting? Yeah. So we were like, we should get rid of that.
It was the right move. It was definitely
not just American flag. It makes us feel good.
Perfect.
Now he's just kind of lurking below the table. I'm not sure if that's any better.
Don't give away our secrets, Joe. Come on.
Over there and get him. Come here, Joe.
We just want to know he's always with us. That's the thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
We got Serge pressing the buttons.
Yo, what's up, guys? Serge.com. Let's do this.
Right on. All right, let's jump into this first story. Check out this tweet. We got this tweet from Benny Johnson. He posted the video from Project Veritas. I suppose I could have just pulled it up from Veritas, but Benny Johnson had a really great hashtag attached to it. Lied suddenly, and we all thought that was pretty good, so shout out to Benny. And this is the video. I'll play just a little bit. It's 10 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you, but we'll play a little bit of this so you can see what happens.
My question for you is, why does Pfizer want to hide from the public the fact that they're mutating the COVID virus?
Is this real life? I'm literally a liar. I was trying to impress a person on a date by lying. This is absurd.
Please don't touch me. Well, this is not. By the way, don't tell anybody.
Someone who's just working at a company to literally help the public. You really did. Please bring the cops as soon as possible. It was very unsafe.
Can you please unlock your door?
No, don't let them leave.
Please unlock.
Don't let them leave. Please unlock the door. Then look, he attacks James. Look at this.
Please unlock. Please unlock the door.
This is crazy.
Please unlock the door. Lock the door.
He says you can't just record people like that. Yeah, actually, you can.
We're trying to unlock the door. Unlock the door.
This is the best video in ages.
Yo, this video is crazy. That was the highlight reel. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday. So for those that don't know the context, James O'Keefe's Project Veritas was undercover filming a guy who's listed as a Pfizer director of strategic research or something like that. And he's saying that they're exploring mutating COVID to sort of preempt it so they can make more vaccines, make more money off the vaccines. He says, don't tell anybody. They even have a clip in this where he's like, you're not recording me, are you? Why do you keep talking about this? Don't be recording me or whatever. So that's the context here. Now, I think James has been particularly forthcoming in breaking down what this story is. You'll notice the first thing that James shows in it is the guy saying, I am a liar. I was trying to impress someone on a date. Not true. He says, I'm not a doctor. He says, I'm just a consultant. Veritas put that right in the first 15 seconds. They want you to understand that. Of course, what you're going to hear from the fact checkers, and I'll pull this up, is they're trying to make it seem like Veritas came out and asserted that Pfizer was doing this. No. What Veritas came out and said was, hey, we got this guy on camera who is listed as a director at Pfizer, saying they're looking into doing this. Can we get some answers as to why he's talking about that? Hey, maybe he is just trying to impress some guy on a date. I wouldn't be surprised. I talked about it the other day. I think that happens. People are, hey, let me tell you about the corporate malfeasance I'm involved in. Yeah. For some reason, they think it'll attract a mate.
The thirst, that's why. It's the thirst.
But man, we got a bunch of crazy news, but when I actually saw the video of the dude physically attacking the Veritas crew, and then take a look at this. At the end, James leaves. Let me play the last minute.
John,
check this out.
Come on, guys. Where's the car? Where's the vehicle?
Keep walking.
Come on.
Let me. So he's leaving, but I also want to point out, they locked the Veritas crew in the restaurant. This is the weird thing. James walks in all calmly, walks up to this guy, and he's like, "Can you answer why you said these things?" The dude goes to the store owner. The store owner takes his side immediately, and James is like this calm dude wearing a suit. Like, I'm just a journalist asking questions. Here's what gets crazy. She says, "You need to leave," and he goes, "Okay, we're leaving." Then this guy, Walker, says, "No, don't let them leave. Don't leave." And James is like, "Ma'am, he doesn't want us to leave. Should we? Is it okay if we stay and ask him a few questions?" Then the lady apparently, or someone at the restaurant, goes and locks them in. And James is like, "Can you please unlock the door and let me leave?" That's the craziest story. And then, so here's where we're at. Now James is leaving. Check this out.
Witness one of the most remarkable interactions ever. Do we have the iPad? So we're getting into the vehicle now. Where's our car?
So it says, Walker desperately tried to stop a car he believed was crewed by Veritas.
And that car is like, what is going on?
But by this point, James and production had already left the restaurant.
Stand right there. Yo, stop.
Yo, that's so crazy.
He's charging the guy, charging. I can't make an arrest at this point. We'll have to get them right here. Okay. If he was here, you'd arrest that guy? If he was here.
If James O'Keefe was still there, they would have arrested Walker. Here's what I got to say about this, what we should talk about. The ending there, I think, is the most revealing. That he tried to stop a random car, jumping up and down in the street. Yeah. What must be going through this guy's mind that he would have such, what's the unhinged reaction? Like, yo, dude, lost it. I'm kind of wondering, he works, he's saying, like, I'm lying, I swear I'm lying, and I'm wondering if he spilled the beans in a situation where, you spill the beans like this, you could sink a multi-billion-dollar company. You're going to cause a lot of problems. His reaction's only making it worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, what's in his contract that they can bring against him now? What penalties does he have from Pfizer? I can't imagine.
NDA violation, easy.
Yeah, at least.
I imagine that being in that situation could end his career. I mean, he was going to want to hire the guy after that.
I mean, to be honest, if his reaction to James O'Keefe was like, look, man, they're really doing it, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and it freaks me out. That's why I was talking about it.
I got a job with James O'Keefe.
He could have got a job with James O'Keefe. He could have been one of those whistleblowers that gets one of those GoFundMes. Instead, he loses his mind, attacks them. Yeah. Now nobody was anywhere. But I don't know. What do you think? Is this just a guy who was lying because he wanted some dude to like him?
I think the big thing is we just need the government and Pfizer to just be honest with us. I mean, I feel like this whole interaction was kind of like a microcosm of COVID since 2020. Like, if somebody said something and then someone else, James O'Keefe, came and said, "Hey, can I get some more information on that?" And then the regime
and they lock him inside.
And they freak out. They say, "You can't ask that question. You're the liar." The gaslighting starts. You're the one that's in the wrong. Then we all get locked inside together. I mean, this has been the reaction since COVID started. Anytime a reasonable person says, "Hey, can we get a little bit more information on this? This is interesting that there was the Wuhan Institute of Virology right there. Do you think maybe it came from that lab?" Boom, you're nuked automatically. You say, "Hey, I don't want to have to take this vaccine. I don't want to have to lock my community down." And then boom, they are all over you, just like this. The exact same reaction that gentleman had.
Stuff with Wuhan. That's the thing that really bothers me the most. Is that is the most obvious assumption that people are going to make. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, right? Whether it came from the lab or not. Personally, it seems likely to me, but at the same time, it also seems the most obvious thing that people are going to assume.
Right.
So to nuke people's, Twitter pages or social media accounts or whatever for saying something that is for an uninformed person, a person that's ignorant about how viruses work and stuff, making that kind of conclusion and saying, oh, well, that seems it to me, and then just being like, well, you lose all of your social media privilege just because you thought of something that seemed like an obvious idea.
But the lab leak theory stuff was weird. Early on during the pandemic, we talked about it. I talked about it. There was no issue on YouTube. Then all of a sudden, for like a few months, there was. If you claimed it was a lab leak, all of a sudden it was like, now you're getting banned. Yeah. Then all of a sudden it was gone again. And then Jon Stewart came out and he said, come on, guys. Right. Like, you think the bat coronavirus emerged from a wet market across the street from the Wuhan Coronavirus Research Center? Yeah. Come on. And then Colbert actually argued with him. And I'm like, at that point, everyone's kind of leaning in the direction. And I think it's fair to say there's no direct proof. I think it's fair to say common sense or a reasonable assumption is, yo, come on. Yeah. But do we have, like, I'll put it this way. What we do have is, early on in the pandemic, there were researchers at the University of Beijing who put out a report or some research paper saying that people had been bitten by bats and peed on by bats. I would like some sworn testimony on that, but hey, look, you're dealing with communist China. Good luck getting it. Right. So I think it is a reasonable assumption that it's the case. But you know what? I don't know. I'm not an expert. I defer to directors at Pfizer.
Right. Let's hear what they have to say.
Who work on these things and tell their dates that it most likely came from a lab because they were doing gain-of-function research. Yeah.
I like that at one point he goes, like all men, I lied. It's like, man, you're throwing everyone with you.
Sounds like a feminist. That's why.
Excuse me.
Look, the bigger the story, the bigger the lie. Yeah. For him to come out, I lied. It's like, okay, now I don't think you did. Right. You know, if he came out, like, there's so many things he could have done. He could have come out and started just. He could have told James, I've been working with the CEO directly, and then just started hammering out the lies to totally discredit himself. Instead, he goes the route of physically attacking, screaming, jumping in front of cars, yelling, I'm a liar, please believe me. It's like, really bad. Bro, if you're a liar, I'm not going to believe you. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'll tell you what I think. I don't think he was lying to impress a date. I think he was trying to impress a date.
He's telling the truth to impress a date.
There's a part of this video, I think it's this video, where, right here, check this out, look at this. This part right here, let me play this part.
I not want the public to know that you guys are doing directed evolution.
What's going on here? That feels like an interview. I know, it's freaking out. These like flashbacks to that like sting organization of like those conservative people who like randomly go into organizations and then like befriend people who work in these organizations and then report them, which happened to people at Pfizer. So it's like freaks me out. People start asking a lot of questions about work.
Why would that go to the public? Because I just want to know the answer.
I don't know how you're reporting me. Oh my god, Jason, that'd be horrible. You could not be reporting me, your company.
And he was.
Oh, man.
Yep. That's so crazy. What's going on here? That's crazy, dude.
That's hilarious.
You know what this reminds me of?
Why are we back on this topic?
Yeah, I like
because I want to know the answer.
Walks in like Chris Hansen. Yeah. So he thought it, but then he still wanted to continue impressing his date.
Yeah.
And so the next day when James O'Keefe comes in, he's just like, oh, man.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this before. You were saying, like, at what point did they start being suspicious, right? That, like, if you keep asking specifically about this job that you're not supposed to talk about, at what point are they like, maybe something's going on? But I guess this person is so, I don't know, unhinged, maybe a little bit emotionally.
This is why I think he's telling the truth. He actually gets to the point where he expresses, why are you asking me this? It kind of makes me feel like I'm being recorded. Yeah, like, he's starting to realize, hey, wait a minute, what I'm saying could be a problem.
Second or third or fifth date in, though.
Third date, I think. He said third date through the video.
Oh, man.
I mean, I gotta say, I do feel bad because these people are on dates. They're laughing. They're enjoying themselves. This guy goes on some dating app, meets some guy he really likes, and then, you know, he's like, they're out for pizza. They got this nice pizza there. Could you imagine, like, sitting down, you're chilling, not trying to think about work. The dude you're actually with is about to destroy your life. Yeah. And he's secretly recording you.
I do feel bad for him. It is also, at the same time, hilarious. I can't help it. Like,
well, no, his reaction going crazy is hilarious. But I'm just like, man, I think his brain broke when he realized.
Yeah, he's totally panicking.
Yeah. Look, when you get a Twitter employee being like, yeah, we ban people, then the information gets released by Veritas. It's like, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? Your liberal friends are going to be like, good for you. Screw those Nazis.
Yep.
But what happens if you come out and you're like, all of those evil things you've been accused of that you don't believe are happening, I admit it to people in private, and now everybody knows I said it, and that either I'm lying or we're doing it. So now what are you going to do?
Yeah, he knows he's basically going to validate the argument of the other side that they've already said is completely and totally evil. So where does that leave him? I think that's probably why he's in such a panic.
I bet the media comes out now and says, mentally unhinged man confronted by Veritas, story completely discredited.
You think they're going to throw him under the bus?
Oh, yeah.
Someone's going to be like, he has a history of this, that, and the other, which, like, is almost more disgusting because if that's true, if he has whatever issues, like, they're going to use it for their protection.
Check out this story from Newsweek. Fact check. Does Project Veritas video show Pfizer is mutating COVID? Hold on there a little minute, Newsweek. Why are you fact-checking a claim that's not been made? This is the interesting about how the media manipulates public perception. Project Veritas released a story that says, Pfizer director says thing. They did not say thing was happening. They said, hey, look, we filmed a guy who said they're exploring mutating COVID, that he thinks the virus came from the lab, etc., or intimated that it did. So what the media does Project Veritas video show Pfizer is mutating COVID? But no one made that claim. Right. Now they can come out and say, false. It doesn't. Yep. Here's the crazy thing about it, though. We'll jump straight down to the bottom. Actually, it leans slightly towards true. It says unverified. So it's not misleading, it's not false, and it's not satire. It's just unverified, which puts their needle leaning towards true. Okay, that's kind of crazy, because James did not say that Pfizer as a company was doing this thing. Now, a bunch of people are complaining about the fact check because the fact check does just needlessly disparage Project Veritas and falsely frame the question at hand. But when even Newsweek, and Newsweek isn't the worst, but when even they try to falsely frame this and still end up with, I can't say it's not true.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting where we're at these days. Yeah.
And they're just trying to throw so much white noise, I think, at it to avoid the obvious question. I mean, everything that guy says is very compelling, especially when you verify his CV. Like, this guy actually is working on these things, and the obvious question is, what is he talking about? But then they have to throw this, well, did they really say they were doing gain of function, just debunking that?
Yeah, I guess. The crazy thing is, the media's not even, they're completely ignoring it.
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't say it's crazy. In the context of Newsweek trying to do a fact check, it's crazy that this is completely being ignored when the video, I think it got, in like 8 hours, 10 million views. Probably more, because I shared it, other people reposted it, things like that, but I'm pretty sure 10 million views on this video in a day.
It's wild.
I mean, I think that the consensus here is probably that he was not actually lying, that he is telling the truth. Because even if you're thinking, I'm going to tell this person stories that are not true to impress them, why would you tell them the stuff that the people you just said you are afraid are coming to find you? Why would you tell them the stuff that they're looking to hear?
That's why I was saying, like, when he's in the video being like, you're not one of those secret conservatives recording me, right? It's like, he's starting to think, wait a minute, did I just spill the beans on this one? Yeah. But ultimately, I guess here's my question. We'll make it political, like, what do we do about it? So this guy said this thing, okay? He did. It's a fact. He said it. James O'Keefe has done his due diligence and shown this guy is listed as having this job. Yeah. So what do we get? Like, should the Republicans subpoena this guy?
I would think so. Yeah.
They're doing the COVID investigation. They're launching that. What do we get out of it? Do you think anything will come of it?
Well, hopefully we get some sunlight and we get to actually see once and for all, maybe not everything we want to see, but we get some very basic questions asked. I mean, I think this just goes into the file of all the other evidence we have. I mean, everything that's happening right now in the medical community, died suddenly, all that. The questions that people have, I would add this to that long list, and that this guy should be subpoenaed. He should be questioned, or the folks that work for him, his supervisor. I mean, this just gives us a starting point.
I think it's interesting that he is so comfortable with this information that first, second, third date he's talking about it, right? Like, that's unusual. Everyone has a first date anecdote that they bring out to show your personality or whatever, and this is his.
Right.
So that means that he's in an environment where they're openly talking about this comfortably, right? Yeah. Like, this can't be the only person. He can't have only told a Project Veritas person about this. Like, who else? And that means that this is something that because what struck me about the first video is him saying, like, oh yeah, this would be bad for America, but it's good for us. And then in this video, he's, like, talking about himself. How could he ever trust anything? Like, it's only self-centered motivation.
Yeah. Do you think the Republican Congress is actually going to do legitimate investigations into all of these issues? I mean, it's not just the pandemic stuff. You got the Hunter Biden stuff. We talked about this before they narrowly won. But we're not entirely confident. I mean, we as in the people on the show, that Kevin McCarthy's actually going to give us real investigations.
So far, so good. I mean, I think what the direction they're heading right now, they're putting the right people on those committees. I mean, MTG is on the COVID committee. I mean, that's pretty awesome. We've got Jim Jordan, Dan Bishop, and a couple other fighters that are on the Government Accountability of the Modern Day Church Committee, going after the intelligence community, going after the administrative state. So we've got the right people lined up now.
4 for $10. Yeah, you know. That classic Arby's. Roast beef. 4 for $10. Arby's. We have the meat.
Do you ever feel like having that much power on your show has led to being a little unprofessional?
And we're just supposed to be having a conversation, but like so tall and he's so handsome that in the middle of it he was just supposed to be like, "What do you think, Mindy?" And I was like, and I looked around, and I improvised just kissing him in the scene.
You just started kissing that guy, that picture, yeah.
And they were like, "Hey man, what are you doing? You could be sued for that." And I got very scared, and then I said, "Tell anyone and you're fired."
The third and fourth episodes of Velma are trash. They're more of a dumpster fire than the previous episodes because the third episode focuses mostly on Velma discovering her sexuality while ripping off Cobra Kai to teach the viewers about how evil men are. And the fourth episode focuses on even more sexuality discovery while also teaching the viewers how evil men are. Only this time through the eyes of Fred, just like in the original show. Aww. By the way, if you haven't had the chance to check out my previous review on the first and second episodes of Velma, feel free to check it out. I'm going to leave the link in the description for you all to see. But Dredd, what about the murder mystery? What? That's still going on? I'm sorry, I guess I was too busy having anti-male ideology shoved down my throat for 50 minutes straight to notice. You see, any plot that Mindy Kaling constructed, if it was constructed by a human at all and not a racist, misogynist scripting bot, has been smothered into a coma by the endless swath of ulcer-inducing jokes that specifically target men, and more importantly, fans of Scooby-Doo. And even if the average sane TV watcher was able to keep up with the lightning-paced fiasco of this horribly animated farce, they wouldn't be able to figure out who the killer is anyway, since each and every character in this show performs extreme acts of violence and breaks every law imaginable in basically every scene, such as Daphne stabbing people repeatedly and spreading blood all over the school gym, or Fred breaking out of prison via a riot and suffering no consequences. At this point, anyone could be the killer, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised since all of them are obvious criminals with violent tendencies and motives. Even the police investigating the crimes aren't taking the murder plot seriously because the middle-aged white men, as Velma refers to them as, have concluded that the murderer is only killing hot teenage girls. But don't focus too much on the fact that middle-aged men are calling teenage girls hot. There's a mystery to solve. So we'll leave it to Norville to do all the investigating by utilizing a cardigan like a lasso of truth on suspects while Velma tries to get into Daphne's pants. The only real-life experience I find watching this show is remotely equivalent to is sticking your hand in a toaster and absorbing 40,000 volts of electricity. But even that sounds infinitely more enticing than this terrifying acid trip of a series, except for the fact that acid trips are way more fun. I suppose this is the moment I say a prayer of thankfulness for HBO Max having enough sense not to include Scooby-Doo in this show, at least for now. But there's always the chance that Mindy will screw that up too, though. Don't give her any ideas, right, Mindy? Right?
Tell anyone and you're fired.
Like Scooby-Doo! Where are you? Shh, Shaggy, stop it. What if he shows up? Imagine what they'll do to your boy. But like, shh, hush. It's okay. Here, have a Scooby snack. Just eat it. Shh. And soon you'll forget that this nightmare ever happened. Speaking of nightmares, this clear as day erotic dream that Mindy Kaling is having suits her way more than it suits us. In Velma, Mindy is living her lifelong fantasy, being hit on by every single member of the mystery gang. Seriously, She gets hit on and kissed by Daphne, hit on by Norville, who she rejects constantly, and even hit on by Fred by the end of the 4th episode because he read a book about feminism and realized how beautiful Velma was on the inside. Oh wait, there's still one big problem. They're all teenagers. That's right. Mindy Kaling is in her 40s, and yet she has self-inserted her personality into that of Velma and has written these stories as such so that she is the object of desire for all of these kids. Can't possibly be a red flag or anything. No, absolutely not. No way. Of course I'm implying something, Plato, but I'll never tell. Mindy has serious issues. Also, do you recall any parts of this show being scary, as Mindy Kaling claims? I've seen far scarier things in previous iterations of Scooby-Doo. Like my all-time favorite Scooby-Doo movie, Zombie Island. Remember that one? Oh, that was great. It actually kind of freaked me out when I was younger. It had all kinds of cool things in it. Zombies, werecats, and voodoo dolls that literally melted the Mystery Gang's faces in one scene. It was epic, man. And that's what's sad about this entire situation. There is an endless number of Scooby-Doo stories and themes that they could have used to make this show scary, effective, and well told. But no, Mindy Kaling thinks that her terrible writing comes off as scary. Well, I mean, she is right about that, Plato. It is scary, just not in the way that she expected. Try not to pay attention to the fact that Velma is now the 3rd worst rated show on IMDb and the worst animated show on IMDb ever. Jinkies! Even Dragon Ball Evolution, which was so bad, can never equate to this miasma of stupidity. And what is HBO Max saying about it? Well, look at how many people are watching. The most watched show ever. Yeah, well, maybe they do sound that dumb, Plato. They certainly act like it. They're clearly pretending that it's a success because of how much attention it's getting, and maybe that's all that matters to HBO Max. But these lies can only last so long. Look at the Rotten Tomatoes audience score. It's laughably hated by regular viewers, and there aren't enough cardigans in the world to convince me that the critics are being honest here. Who are they kidding? It was 8% previously, and now it's 6%. Imagine if it gets to 0%. That will be absolutely insane, and I'll be laughing, by the way. Eventually, they're going to realize that they've made a mistake. Or perhaps they already realized it, since they're airing 2 episodes at a time. If I were them, I'd push out as many episodes per week as possible to get it out of the way, so that other quality shows can fill those time slots and save HBO Max from the eventual pitchfork fest that will ensue once this series reaches its conclusion. Oh, who am I kidding? There's nothing that's going to stop that from happening. Do they even care about this show, really? In all truth? It doesn't matter, because at this point, I don't think there's any way that the show can get better. Velma and her ridiculous counterparts are unlikable and bad-natured, and if Velma's mom ends up being the killer, which all signs point to, then who cares? If you're pushing away the entire fan base and the only people who are left to enjoy this trash heap are hateful, unsupportive, non-Scooby-Doo fans, then what was the purpose of all of this money and effort in the first place? To alienate people? To become the most despised person on the internet? I'll never understand the obsession with becoming famous no matter how you get there and no matter how many bridges you burn in the process, and yet that's the exact strategy I see at play here. Maybe that's the only way to get ahead in Hollywood these days, but it's only a matter of time until Mindy Kaling's career goes down the toilet. Someone give Velma a Scooby snack pronto. That being said, I hope you enjoyed my review. Like and share this video, and if you'd like to keep up to date with future content, consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell. I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Say goodbye, Plato. Rare.
Shipping container houses are a fad. The shipping container and tiny home stuff is not a real home, but I'm not disqualifying it as not a dwelling. It's just, don't think of it as like, I'm going to build a tiny home on a house and then sell it like a piece of real estate. That's not what it is. When you build a shipping container home or an A-frame or a tiny home, you just built yourself a fort. And it's okay. I'm not knocking. I'm really not. It's a dwelling. But if you guys, for all you guys that like live at home like that, this is a move that I think of all the time. You buy a piece of land and you stick an A-frame on it, and then you slowly work backwards. You have a place to land and figure out if you like it there. You can bring like a bike up, some stuff. You leave like a set of clothes, and you kind of disappear there. And that's your first foray into a dwelling. A guy like yourself, Jet. Yeah. You know, maybe you don't want to buy a house for $300,000. You could afford a house for $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. but you're not. We're not going to. You know the drill. You're not going to do that. But you could buy a piece of land, and you could build an A-frame with a friend. You could get a group of people to throw in. Hey, everybody want to throw in $5,000 each, and I'll build this thing. I'll take a little bit more, and we'll block out days and we'll use it. But think of it as more as a temporary thing for you guys to use. But I've built them before, and I've always considered them. They're just like little getaway things. That's probably the best way to think about it. And you don't spend. Your total spend could be $20,000, $30,000, and you have the functions of a dwelling. Like, is it a piece of real estate that you can sell and make a ton of money on it? No. But can you go to Maine and have a place to stay? Yeah, totally. That's the way I would think about that. Can you go to the country? Yeah, that's like it's an accessible thing for you to do. You can find land like upstate New York, Pennsylvania. You can find fucking raw land that's just cleared for $10,000, $12,000, $7,000. They'll take it in cash, and you can pay them $2,500. It's land. It's not going anywhere. And then the second you pay that out, you got to pay the taxes. Be flexible. Think about it. That's the way I would consider it. Rather than I'm going to build a tiny house on land and then sell a tiny house on land. Like, it's just not a good way, because you're not going to clobber knock it. Like you see on this stream these fucking idiots in California that are like, I'm going to put a metal container house and I'm going to sell it for $600. Like, dude, the houses that you say are like architect designed container homes that cost like $400,000.
Yeah.
Like, at that level, they didn't even need to use shipping containers. They just did it just because they liked the thought of it. So you're looking at two different things, and I don't want them to get conflated.
Yo, Nick, will we ever see the return of the iconic character Choco Kid? Also, how much should I worry about the mileage when buying a used truck? I'm thinking about getting an 08 to 2014 Silverado.
Hell yeah, man. Mileage, not that bad. Do the oil trick, see if there's any shavings in the oil. But look at the truck. You go with your gut. Tires, suspension, drive it. Drive the fucking thing. Push the bed. Look at the bed rails. I guess if it's gone X, I try to find a low mileage one. If not, I wouldn't be. I've driven cars with 225,000 miles on it recently. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't scare me. But I knew the car was okay. Check the oil.
Cole K with the follow-up 20 asked, I asked about the metal houses earlier. Sorry for the bad writing. I have cerebral palsy and I'm high AF. Well, Cole, it was, I could read it just fine, man, but I hope your brain feels better soon. BB with the 15 says, what is your opinion on wallpaper?
Wallpaper from the 70s.com is a pretty good resource. I use it in, I used to design the houses a lot more around like Airbnb. I probably won't sell my house ever, but if things go well for me, I will build a house for myself and I will just keep this thing. I wouldn't sell it because I work my ass off. I like the property itself. I just don't like the house as much as I like things that I could build. So I always build them to... wallpaper is whimsical and it's personal, but it does rent and it looks good and it's photogenic. And that's the way I always think about things. Like, would someone who's renting the house for me take a picture of it and it will sell again? That's just a little... And some wallpaper will do that more than paint will, or a weird paint color. But there's wallpaper in a couple of rooms in my house always. And the resource I use is wallpaper from the 70s. If you want to look up something cool, look up Dugournay wallpaper, which is French hand-painted wall panel papers. And it's like $20,000 a room. And it's the fanciest wallpaper you can get. Dugournay wallpaper. Ultimate cunt shit. So, if I'm ever getting talked down to about some inheritance at a bar somewhere, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just had the guys from France come out from Dugournay. I did this wallpaper. It's beautiful. I did this, and then I'll tell them I did clowns riding on the backs of nightingales, and they're eating Skittles out of the back of Acuras. Yeah, it's a custom idea. I am a real creative type. Like I'm a real artist. So I had the Frenchies come out and paint it on there. It cost me $21,000. Like it was, it was nothing for me. Oh, man. I think it's going to look so good. The Skittles and the Nightingales in the back of the Acuras. TLs, in case you were wondering. 09 TL all-wheel drives TLs with the trunk pop, full of Skittles, Nightingales, ridden by clowns, sad clowns, in case you were wondering. Simple face paint on the clowns, very ornate on the bird color, the feather coloring, and then the base background for the wallpaper, I did go with a hazel green. Foil, a hazel green foil.
It's just like the most horrendous use of 20.
Yeah,
You can
20,
ever do.
people like they just shit. They get scared.
Nick, are you filming any behind-the-scenes content for World Peace 2? I would love to see videos of you walking away from grown men mid-conversation.
Oh yes, I will film that. I will film on the clowning. We have a lot of behind the scenes. It's happening every day. I've been working with Eric Hayden a lot. Eric Hayden and I are gathering stories every day on how much fucked up shit is going on. It's so funny, just cracking up. We're having a good time though, man. It's bliss. We are set up for success, and it's good, man. I mean, what can I say? I got fucking crackhead skitterbugs asking me right in the middle of. I'm in a meeting yesterday with 6 grown men, right? 3 builders, a property owner, and then like a painter. We're all in the middle of a meeting. A crackhead, the guy from the neighborhood that I happen to know from elementary school, who's a friend of mine, he's my friend's older brother. I gave him a bud of weed on the first day I saw him just because I felt bad. He's going through a rough patch. Right in the middle of the meeting, walks right into me. He's like, "Yo, Nicky!" He's 4'11", 90 pounds. But yeah. "Yo, bro, you got a bud?" Like right there, I was like, dude, I'm in a fucking meeting, man. I was like, no, I don't have any weed on me. I don't have any like flour. And he was like, oh man, that's okay. All right, bro, you good people. What are you guys making, movie? And then I was like, Jesus Christ.
What was the people in the meeting?
They can't, like, they feel bad. They just like. They just shut their mouths because like they're old guys. Yeah. They would be like, "Get out of here," you know. Yeah. And I feel bad. He's going through some shit. You know what I mean? So I'm not here. I've said it before. I like drug addicts. I'm not going to call a crackhead. I will call you a crackhead to your face, but we're saying it in good jest. We're having a good time with it. All right. You want to do drugs? I get it. If I was doing a lot of heroin or a lot of crack or coke or whatever, I wouldn't want people to be busting my balls. But you could, as long as you weren't being mean to me.
Yeah.
But you could be like, "Nick, what are you gonna go do? Steal a gutter?" I'm like, "Nah, I'll steal a boiler." You know, "I stole your catalytic converters." You know, that's okay. Like, that's okay.
Jep the Deku Butler says, "Hey, this is the pastor who asked Nick to look at his house a few weeks ago. I gave money then, but I'm happy to do it again. I sent an email with RCA in the address if you want to pull the link. Thanks."
All right, we'll get it.
Yeah. Marco Garcia. How can we be so sure this dog poop bag is going to blow out? GDP grew 2.9%. Home builder sentiment improved last month. For real, though, what is your reasoning? Just vibes?
I don't know. I'm going to call that a dead cat bounce. I'm going to call it GDP growth. I know some stuff's clearing out. I know we're house rich and the loans haven't been bad. The other, I'll play devil's advocate here to even my own argument. The other fun statistic is 45% of homes in America are owned free and clear.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the boomers. That's the boomer wealth. Their houses are owned. So, but I can't trust their integrity. I mean, I've been selling these fucking boomers. They're not good with their money. So they will spend the money.
Yeah.
They will access the equity.
Yeah.
They will get Corvette. They're just waiting, and they're just late and patient. But they can only be patient for so long. It's going to get attacked. Also, all these fucking young idiots buying houses and like, look at the guys on Turo.
Yeah.
A lot of people bought houses that tried shit like Turo, where they thought they were going to Airbnb rat holes. Like, hey, guess what? No one wants to rent a fucking trap house in the middle of the hood for $140 a night. Like, yeah, I know it's in Providence, but it's off Broad Street, and there's like Uzi shots like nightly. You're going to rent it once, and you're never going to rent it again, and then your boy's going to live in there, and then he's going to try to grow weed in there, and then he's going to stop paying you, and then you're going to stop paying the mortgage, and then you're going to say, fuck it, and then you're going to have no house, and that's going to happen. That's just my gut feeling, and I think people are going to lose their jobs, too. I think there's some pretty big job cuts coming, and I think some people overextended and used some first-time home buyers, some aggressive programs, some wide-eyed intentions. So I think we're going to lose 25 to 30% of the market to foreclosure. You know, there's going to be some shit going down. More in the Southwest, though.
JSQRS, any advice on transitioning to something more lucrative and rewarding than the games industry? I'm a 3D artist in LA making $65K with 5 years experience. Love the shows, boys.
Yeah, you want to come work more lucrative than video games? Of 3D artist in LA?
$65K a year in LA is like...
Yeah, man. you gotta get a better job. I mean, I don't mean that to be a prick. I really
it too.
Yeah. Work for a better studio. You know. You should be. I mean, I'm with Sammy on this. I think video games are they're big and they're good. Movies fucking suck, and video games are where it's at. You'll get a better job, and if not, and if you're nasty, fuck, I could probably pay you $65,000.
Alrighty, that's gonna be the next stream for now. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And that's it for now. So yeah, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
And you're doing 3D art. I don't.